Here is my recap and review of Dexter New Blood Season 1, Episode 6, which is entitled Too Many Tuna Sandwiches. This was a very interesting, kind of jam-packed episode with story. I'm going to try to keep this as concise and as clear as I can. There were a lot of things that happened in this episode, and it was very interesting when you really dig deep into what happened. But this episode starts out, obviously, with Angela figuring out who Dexter is and ends up stopping him on the side of the road like she did in the first episode, but she's not there to have, foreplay with him. She asks him to come back to the department and sits him down and asks what the heck's going on. That's when he admits his whole past to him, other than being a serial killer, but talks about how his wife was murdered, his sister was shot and killed. He goes through the whole thing of what happened with his family and why he left, and this definitely piques her interest, and she's now very suspicious of him. And things get a little worse when later in this episode, when Harris actually ends up at her house and ends up spending the night with her daughter, and the next morning she catches them together. So that's not good for either of them. Now, we've got this girl, Molly, who has this podcast, and I really haven't talked about her much. I'll talk about her more in an upcoming episode. But she's kind of poking around and kind of figuring out what's going on with the killers and everything, and ends up having a conversation with Kurt Caldwell at a bar. And that's when Dexter tries to record the conversation. He is able to get it. But that's when Kurt takes her out and wants to show her something. So he's actually there because she's getting too close to what's going on. He wants to kill Molly. He does lure her out to where he kills these women. And Dexter follows them and actually ends up saving her life, which is very interesting. That's not what Dexter usually does. But it was a kind of a funny scene when Kurt was clearly upset that Dexter found out where he was killing these women. And actually in the next episode, he ends up, I don't talk about this in the recap for the next episode, but he does end up taking everything out after Dexter finds this out so that there's no proof that he ever did anything there. But he's pretty upset that Dexter found this. We also find out Kurt is getting very close to Dexter's son, Harrison, and actually Harrison wants to get a job with Kurt, and Dexter doesn't understand that. But Kurt also does give his Harrison an envelope with some metal in it, and we're going to find out what that means in this upcoming episode. But we've got kind of a cat and mouse game going on here where Dexter's girlfriend is figuring out who Dexter is. We also had Dexter and Harrison in therapy in this episode, and when Harrison is alone, he does admit that he has these angry urges to hurt people. There's going to be a lot more revealed about that in upcoming episodes as well. But this was another solid episode this season, and it was very interesting. I've been reading online how a lot of people find these to be kind of filler episodes, and I don't. I think everything has been interesting. I think this has been a pretty solid season, and I'm looking forward to seeing where this ends up in the following 4 episodes. So normally they have 13 episodes, but this season is only going to be 10. So we do have 4 more after this episode, and we are going to see where this goes. There could be some real repercussions for Jim Lindsay, Dexter, because of what is happening, and there's going to definitely be some hell to pay coming up. All right, I do appreciate all the support. We'll see you guys on the next recap.